No, I'm not the first, but at least let me be in there somewhere to say welcome to this symposium. I don't know about you guys, but I think this is an excellent format. Good to see so many people coming out for this training. In this class, we're going to talk about resolutions. And at the end of it, if you walk out feeling like, I don't feel like an expert in writing my next resolution that I want to write, don't worry about it, because I am not even trying to get you even close to that level. Okay, we're just going to talk about resolutions, why we have them, what they mean, what to look for, what not to look for, and good dialogue on how we can write the best resolution and why it's important to do so. That's what we're going to talk about. My name is Anthony Bradley. I'm not a resolution expert. I am a member of Branch 142 in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Craig and Kevin asked me if I would do something. I said, I'll put something together. What do you want? They said, resolutions. I'll look it up and we'll see what we can do. So here we go. I did one class and it went well. A lot of it is because of questions from the class. So I want dialogue. Has anyone here been actually on a resolutions committee at a national convention? At a national convention. State. Not a national. Okay, that's okay. Because I would love to draw on that. But state, that's going to be great. We're going to draw on that experience. So we're going to talk about resolution. So what is a resolution? Now, before I get to defining what a resolution is, let's talk about a little bit about what it does for our organization, why it's so critical to have them. What do they mean to you? What do they mean to us as a group? Our organization has done many things for us today to enjoy the benefits that we enjoy. And it doesn't take long to talk to a friend that works for another company to go, wow, we get a lot. Annual leave, health benefits, unreal what we get. And that's come a lot from our organization negotiating, some people may say fighting, for those rights and for those benefits from our postal headquarters. But did they just come out the blue and say, hey, we're going to fight for this, we're going to fight for that? No, they had to get some guidance, some direction from somewhere to know what we as a large organization want. So that's where it starts when we talk about resolutions. What have they done so far? Resolutions has allowed us to purchase a headquarters building in Alexandria, Virginia. How many have been there? It is impressive. Just that alone, if no one knows anything about the Postal Service or these organizations, they walk up and they say, wow, this is NAP's headquarters. I don't know what they do, but they must be a great professional organization. That perception is right there. A resolution started that. And they just go out and make a purchase. A member, a branch, someone came up with an idea, did a resolution, adopted, grew, action took place. This is the result. So that resolution is that beginning, is that groundwork, that first step in us getting things done. There's other things in there, but you can go on and on and on. I went to the NAP's website and just pulled up there in reverse chronological order and found the biggest three things that I thought were really impactful of resolutions. So you can understand the importance of why we need resolutions and what a resolution is. And it could be, we will find out here soon, it could cover a multitude of areas when you do your resolution. So let's just start with the definition. This is a formal definition out of a dictionary. It says that a resolution is a written motion. The substance of the resolution can be anything that can normally be proposed as a motion. For longer or important motions, it is often better to have them written out so that discussion is easier. I'm going to give you some background on that discussion portion and why we want it to be easy. So basically, it's a written proposal on how to solve a problem at hand. My words. In other words, a resolution is a method that we, the members, me and little old Kalamazoo, population 200,000, I have a way to impact and inform my national leader of topics that are important to me, my members, then my state members, and hopefully good for the national organization. It establishes the direction and the course of action that our national resident officers will take our organization when it comes to negotiating and consulting with the Postal Service headquarters. How else are they going to know, again, what we want as members? So really, it's just our way of communicating to our national board what we like. And how does this get accomplished? This literally gets accomplished by our national resident officers sitting down with formal consultation meetings with Postal Service officials at the headquarters level. This is where it happens. This is where my idea is a resolution. We don't all know what that is exactly yet, but except for the definition. But my little idea is a resolution, moved up the chain to national resident officers talking with PMG, his staff, about something that our members want. So that's why it's so important, resolution. It's the thing that gets the ball turning. And then I highlighted and bolded there, issues of interest and concern. They can cover almost everything. I think my next slide shows some of the things. It could be internal. It could be something about our own constitution and bylaws that is holding us back or not allowing us to get to a next level. And we want to change that. Do a resolution towards that. Hey, this is what's going on. We can do better. How do we get the body to accept that and agree? We do a resolution, get it adopted at the branch, at the state, it goes to national, accept it there, and then we make the change. So a resolution can start that. But a lot of times we see our resolutions, and I have a book, and I'll read some from it later. At the National Convention, there is a book that all resolutions are put in. I'll refer to this later, but you'll see resolutions that address a myriad of things. So do not worry when you're thinking about writing a resolution. Does this fit resolution type subject matter? Doesn't matter. What we're talking about is issues and concerns to managers and supervisors that we think need to be addressed or improved. Your concerns and issues. Operational concerns, how you're being treated, pay and benefit concerns, it can be anything. So now, before we get started, let me talk a little bit about the process at a national convention. I told you that, and you can have resolutions that don't go to the national level. You can have resolutions at your local branch, state level, just to change things there as well. But I'm going to kind of focus on national convention resolution. At a national convention, you have this book of resolutions, and there is a resolutions committee. Okay? It's a group of our members, our peers, that look at all the resolutions, they read them, and they either agree with them or disagree with what that resolution is trying to do. And you'll hear it on the floor as I concur or I non-concur. After that first reading, there is an opportunity for any member on the floor to get up and object to what that committee decided. Okay? So when you're following along and you're trying to figure out what the business is at hand, you hear a resolution read. When I went to my first convention, they were on resolution 10, and I had no idea what people were doing. What were they writing? What does this concur? Why did he say something this time and didn't say something the last time? It was kind of like overwhelming. Like, what are they doing? Somebody should at least clue me in a little bit. Then I started looking forward. I'm like, we're going to be on resolutions a long time. How come no one even mentioned resolutions to me before I got on the plane? I was really kind of shocked about that whole process. But to say that, when you get into a resolution, there's two things we want to talk about. Content of your resolution and the format. Format is going to be kind of easy because we have on our website and in our trainer's officer's guide a template. We're going to go through it here, but it's a template exactly how that resolution should look. The format. They spell it out verbatim. You cannot get that wrong. The content. I explained a little bit about how that process works at a national convention because the content is critical. Just having them read it, agree to concur, non-concur, someone come and object, and then you wonder what's going on, then they start reading the next resolution, and you're trying to think, well, why did they object? Why didn't they concur? It's already a difficult process to stay on top of each resolution as they're going one after the other after the other. To add the difficulty level to that process is having a resolution that is unclear. That doesn't specifically tell us what it is that they want. So the content is very important. That's what we're going to focus on. Not when you first start writing your resolution, but by the time it gets to that end final product that you're going to submit. So let me go ahead and continue, and we'll talk about it. So here we are, and we have issues and concerns. How many of us have issues and concerns? Okay, I know we work in a great place. You should be grateful and thankful for everything you have, but there are things going on. We have issues and concerns. Stephen Covey is an author I'm familiar with, and I kind of believe in just about all of his principles, but one of his habits is begin with the end in mind. And what he means is that you want to begin every day, task, or project with a clear vision of your desired outcome. So when you're writing your resolution, and I'm telling you now, in my previous life, I was not an editor of a major newspaper. I have never authored a book, so I am not an expert per se on writing. Okay, I'm not an expert on writing. But some rules do apply that everyone knows. And everybody here writing, communicating, be clear and concise. Same thing with the resolution. Okay? But I don't want you to bog you down right away. Let's have this resolution be the best resolution you can by just starting with this. Begin with the end in mind. So don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about content. Don't worry about format. You're not worried about anything. What you're worried about right now is expressing your thoughts and ideas in the best way, so the members, when we get to a national convention, say, I agree, we need to do that. Here, I concur, boom, and it's on the agenda for our national board to address. That's the point. So to get started, you just write down, this is not working, this is bad, and I think this is how we can fix it, and you just start writing down your way to fix it. The end in mind. How are we going to fix this situation? Have a plan. Have the steps, have the idea, have that concept there. And I'm going to show you how that fits into an actual resolution in the body of a resolution. Because when you have that end in mind, that is that last clause or last paragraph, or several paragraphs, that is called the resolve. And we'll get into that more. That resolve is what we want our action to be. There's a part of the resolution that supports why we want this action to occur, this new action. And that's kind of the background. Here's what's going on, and they didn't do it right here, and this is always what happens. And because of all this, we need to do this. So your resolution is written in a kind of logical way. Here's some background information, here's some history, here's how they're doing it now, and this is how we can fix it. It flows. The secret to having a great resolution is having someone, when you're done writing it, that doesn't work for the post office, to read that and go, oh yeah, I know exactly what you want. And I've noticed that today, as an employee of the post office, but I can understand and I know what you mean. If you pass that test, you've written a good resolution. So although you may not walk out of here step by step knowing how to write a resolution, we will talk about it enough so you got a good concept of why you're writing a resolution, what it is, how it holds up, how powerful it is, and how it needs to be written. And then we're going to show some common areas that you definitely should not do with our resolution. So we're going to begin with the end in mind. And you're going to write that thought down. Now know that a resolution has three parts. It has a header. It has a preamble section. How many have even heard the words, whereas this, therefore be it resolved, right? Okay, all those whereases, those paragraphs, those clauses, that's your preamble section. That's your history. That's what's going on now, why it's broken. That's that portion of your resolution. And then you have your resolving section. That's the punchline. This is the action we would like you to take. Now for us, in NAPS, when you write your resolutions, headquarters has asked us not to put a header on our resolution. Now I haven't talked to anyone at headquarters that receives all these, puts them in order, copies them and publishes them in our book, but I'm imagining one of the reasons is because now they don't have to cut off your header and take off all that, copy it different. They just take the resolution and quickly put it in the book. There may be some other reasons, but I did not have time to find out. I just figured it's in there, it's real clear, I can easily do that, the header's gone, and I've done my part following directions. So I want to pass that along. No header information on our resolutions, not necessary. But if you did have a header, it would contain information about the subject matter of the resolution, the submitter of the resolution, maybe the creator, the date. If you look at the UN all the time, that's one good example. They always write resolutions about something. You can look right at the heading and see if you want to read further about what this resolution is about. The whereas section, as I said, talks about the background, and of course the resolving section tells us what we want to do. So as I said earlier, although I might not show you exactly how to write the resolution, I can explain a few things that you can see when you read a resolution that is not correct. So you know you have to go back to the drawing board, work on it more, figure out how to move things around to make it happen. Again, resolutions, we want to think about two things, the format and the content. The format is going to be easy when we're done because I'm going to show you a template, and then when you write your resolution, you get it just perfect how you want it. All you're going to do is take the words, and you're going to fit it so it looks like the exact format that we're going to show you in the book, and then I'll show you on the screen. So the format is going to be the easy one to make sure it's correct. How will you know it is not a good resolution by format? It appears, it just won't look right. You'll look at yours, you'll look at yours, you say something's wrong, I didn't double space, I didn't indent something. You'll see the format, how that works. So we won't worry about that too much. But the content. Here's the easiest way to figure out if the content of your resolution is not right. And this happens on convention floors, real resolutions that made it into the book. So there are 900 people in a big room listening to the resolution. They read it, and everybody's going, what did that say? What did they want? As soon as that look comes on there, you get to read it again, read it the third time, you know that resolution probably wasn't written well. Always, 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 before you send it up to get put in the book, after you write your resolution, it should go through other hands, other people look for that logical check, look for that simplicity check, look for that understanding check. Okay? So just kind of make sure that someone else reads it before you get in there. So let's talk about resolves real quick before we look at an entire resolution. Now, resolves, I said, is the punchline. This is the action we want our NAPS headquarters resident officers to take for us on our behalf. Okay? So please do this. This is what we're saying. Please do this. So here's one. And these were actually in a book. Not this one. I keep all mine. I perused a couple of my past conventions and pulled out a few examples of resolutions that made you go, huh? First one. Resolve that NAPS headquarters conducts a study on this subject for local branch use. Kevin, you my national officer? Yeah. Please go out and do that. Because we voted yes, and we want you to do that.
Yeah. I'm on it.
Thank you. And we should be happy with the results because you know what? We wrote this resolution, and my state board looked at it, and it went to the national level. We're proud, and we're going to get something done. And that's what we're getting done. So we got to think about our resolutions when we write them. So we'll get to some more. Resolve that NAPS headquarters makes whatever effort necessary to convince the service to return to those previously established rights. Go.
I'm listening to you.
Dude, you got that one? Kevin's got 2 jobs, and both of those seem pretty easy.
Yeah.
You should be successful at both of them. Okay? So those are some examples. That resolve in a resolution should be able to stand on its own. It should be specific, clear, concise. We need you to do these 3 things. It could have timelines in there. It could have numbers in there. So you want that resolve to be crystal clear. I know everybody's played the communication game. We're all postal managers. You've been to some of those trainings where you read a paragraph, and then other people read it, and then you talk about what you read about, and you hear 3 different versions of what you read. Can't do that with a resolution. There are people that we pay good money for at headquarters that can't understand it 3 different ways. They're going to be sitting across from postal executives to make decisions, and if we're lucky and fortunate and can convince them, we're going to get what we ask for. But not if our own national board understands it. So that's why it's key for these resolutions to be very clear.
Can you go back
Yes.
and read the last one?
The last one? Oh, thank you. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Okay, listen. I am going to read the last one. So it goes on, you have some whereases, and then here we come, the big punch. This is supposed to be the big punch, the action we want to take. I got some in this book. It's got 6 paragraphs of resolves. It says, resolve that we do this, 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 this. And be it further resolved that we can do this, 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 this. And be it further resolved. And then finally be it resolved. If you have more than 2 resolves, something is not correct with that resolution. There might be maybe a bigger issue. Maybe it has to be 2 separate ideas or concepts that we need to address. But we want it to be boom, boom, fix this, and this is how we think it can be fixed. Boom, boom. If you got 5 resolves, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Let's reread it. Let's see if we can break it up because we want to get it. Yes.
No, I was going to say, as far as resolves, not only breaking it up, but a lot of times people don't realize, well, the first timers, I was trained the first timers on resolves and everything that goes on at the National Convention. But a lot of times, even though you do the best you can to write your resolution, sometimes people get upset if they're vehicled by another one. So they're like, wait a minute, I don't mind standing on its own.
Right.
And there's concern sometimes because I like the way we do it as far as, like, if there's like 5 different resolutions and they're all basically talking about the same thing, they pick the best one out of the 5 and then they have the other ones, more or less lump them together with
Right.
that, which makes it better, but sometimes people don't understand that.
Right.
They don't understand what's going on.
Did everybody understand what she was talking about?
We use the terminology vehicle with.
Right.
Vehicle by, it's a vehicle by resolution. And then they told, we're not doing anything with this one, wait a minute, no, it's gonna be vehicle by this. What does that mean?
Right. So there's 50 state branches. We're all sending in resolutions. It's very likely that we have the same issues and concerns in different areas. So there are going to be resolutions that are very similar. So when the resolutions committee meets and reads all of their resolutions, and they, at the convention, they actually have a spokesperson that's at the microphone, reads the resolution, and then tells you what the committee has decided on that resolution, meaning they either agree with the way or they disagree. So instead of reading 5 exact resolutions that have the same resolve, they will vehicle. So everybody knows, like, there's mine, but you're right. Minnesota says the same thing as mine, and so we know that ours is being considered. It's just all being considered with this one. So that's what she's talking about. And sometimes, and I've never been on a national resolutions committee. I have been on my state convention resolutions committee. And when we put those together, I hesitate because, and then this could be just me, but if it is not verbatim, the 2 resolutions, it could be close, but by just too quickly vehicling one to another, you may have really, because of one word change, missed another person's intent.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful when you do that. But I think that's really for the resolutions committee that kind of consider. But yes, they do that a lot. The more result.
Yeah, you're right. And then what they'll do, they might, because I've been an objector, so I've sat in on many national resolution committee meetings, and I've been objecting what they will do. They will take certain parts, like if they left something out, they'll take it and you can ask for them to do an amendment to the resolution.
Right.
And then that way that information is put in.
Is included, yes. So, and we were talking about that because your first question about the multiple resolves were good or?
Well, no, you're right, because there is multiple resolves, like as far as just redundancy.
Right, exactly.
Redundancy.
Okay, right.
Over and over.
That's right. Yeah. So like with any other writing, even with a resolution, basic writing skills are essential. Clear and concise, especially for a resolution. Then the other thing is, now I told you that on the floor, when they read it for the first time and the committee makes their decision, then it is up to us to either agree with what the committee decided or disagree. And the way you disagree is, as you mentioned, any member can get up and say, I object. When you have a negative in a resolution, and I've seen this on convention many times, and I'm not a literature specialist, like I said, but I think when they say writing in the negative, it's using lots of nots, can'ts, won'ts, do not in your resolution. It kind of makes you think backwards about what do they want. So I made this up. This is not out of the book. I just made these sentences up. But if you read them both, you can see right away that, yeah, it is much clearer if you do it the second way. So here's the negative kind of approach to what we're trying to do. Be it resolved that NAPS does not accept Postal Service offer unless the Postal Service returns the overpayment. The resolve in a positive way is that NAPS agree with that offer as soon as the overpayments are returned. So it says the same thing, but that first way is a negative. Now, if you read it the first time, and you're reading your whereases and your resolves, and you're following along in the book, and you're trying to get your head around the negative, what do they really want? And then someone objects, and then you're like, are they objecting to the waivers? Are they objecting? What did it gets really, really confusing. And I've seen on the floor valuable time taken up of just trying to figure out what it is that they want. The intent. So it is always good to write in the positive. Always good to write in the positive. That's what you're looking for. So if you write a resolution and you see anywhere in there the nots, the no, the won't, those kinds of words that makes you think backwards about how you're trying to back into your resolution, just see if there's a way you can, what do you really want to say? Flip it, make it easy. And it's probably going to end up being shorter too when you do it in the positive. So we talked about format, and I told you that in the book, it actually shows you how to write a resolution and how to format it. There are 312 branches. We have to have a standard format. There's no way that we can follow along in a convention when you have 70 to 90 resolutions in the book and trying to go if everyone's resolution looks different. Can't organize it, we probably can't conduct business, so it has to be the same. Before the convention, it allows the headquarters to process those, number them, copy them, and put them in the book. During the convention, it allows that committee to quickly review. If they don't understand something, they can go right back up to the whereas because they know how everyone's writing it, and they can get through, and so can you when you're sitting on the floor following along. So that's why we have to have the format. And then, of course, after the convention, the resolutions that we did adopt, that we said, yes, this is your template, this is your guide for how we're going to conduct business, where we want you to take us, they can easily organize and arrange it and then go ahead and move on with the business at hand. Resolutions should be on one page. Shouldn't use the back. Double spaced. One side of the paper. That fourth bullet, we're going to talk about it a little bit. Resolutions can be good resolutions, but may not be necessary, or what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it may not be necessary for the national body because it may be a local issue. So, of course, when I said start and begin with the end in mind, you're thinking about your home, your issues, your concerns, and what managers in your area are doing. And so when you write it, some of that might get in there. Member of this branch, this city, this is what happened, and here's the background, and it looks very local. It has the intent, but it's local. When you get a resolution up to the national level, it shouldn't have any indication of local references. So if you take that out and just replace it with the National Association of Postal Supervisors, or NAPS, and keep reading your resolution, if it still carries weight after you read it with that in there, you probably have a resolution that is pertinent to a national level. But if you go and read it and took out your branch and put it in NAPS, you're like, well, yeah, that's a good resolution, but I don't think anybody else experienced that because we're the only ones that have, they're still delivering on horses or whatever the situation might be, Then you can tell that's a good check to see, okay, is this going to be weighty enough that it needs to go to a national level. So we want to make sure that you sanitize your resolutions and take out all of the local references. The other thing you're going to do in the resolution is at the bottom, you're going to put the name of the branch that came up with the resolution. I think I'm going to show you a resolution real quick. It's in the book, that Training Officer's Guide. It's going to be kind of hard to see on all right. That is you can't see the words. I'm not trying to show you the words, I just want to show you the format here. The resolution, thanks for the gift, Kevin.
Yeah.
The resolution, as you can see real quick, every paragraph or clause, they are interchangeable words, starts with either whereas or resolve. Those whereases build your case. This is what I was talking about when you try and describe for the audience what is wrong, what's the current situation, what is broken. This is what builds your case, those whereases. And then the resolve is your solution. How are we going to fix the situation? The way it's written, and I haven't got to that yet, the whereases for us are the only things capital and the word resolve. Everything else is written in regular font. We've seen resolutions written in where the whole resolution is all caps. I guess it looks impressive, or it looks, I don't know what it looks, but they do not want it all caps. So for it to flow, double spaced, whereas and resolve, the only thing capped. At the bottom, all you have is your branch name, and that's how you submit it to National. While I have this page up, most people when they write, when they go to a next paragraph, you always end the sentence and a paragraph with some kind of, I guess it's called a, what do you call it, periods, exclamation points, question mark, what are those called? Punctuation marks, yes. They end with a punctuation mark. In resolutions, they don't. It's kind of weird, because what they're doing is you're letting them know that you're going to the next clause. So what you'll have is you'll have whereas, a comma. The first word is capitalized because that's where the sentence begins, and like any beginning sentence, you capitalize the first letter. So you have whereas, there's a comma there, and then they describe something. To do this, such and such. This is what's going on. It's too hot in this room, and so whereas they need to turn the thermostat down or whatever, you know, you just do your description. At the end of that first description, there's a comma, and, because same supporting, but new paragraph, you leave nothing behind that and. So it looks kind of weird, but that's correct. So and, whereas, and notice all your whereases and resolves are indented. So that's the format. You indent those, capitalize them, and then comma, the next sentence, capital letter there, and you go ahead and read it, comma, and you go to your next whereas. And you do that until you're ready now to give us the result, how to fix this thing. When you get to that part, there's a comma instead of the word and, it's therefore be it. Therefore be it resolved. Again, no punctuation at the end of that it. And you go to resolve, comma, and then there's your capital letter. So that is a good format, the format that they have asked us to follow to write our resolutions.
Is the period at the end of the resolve?
At the very last one, there is a period, because you're end of the entire resolution. That's correct. So we're going to talk a little bit more about content. I figured that the format, once you get your thoughts down, you're supporting, and people read it, and you massage it and edit it, getting it into the right format should be, oh good, I hit the wrong button. Should be kind of easy then. So the whereas and resolves, only words typed in caps. I told you that. First letter after the resolve is capitalized. The first line of the whereas and resolve is indented. And did you notice that every paragraph either started with a whereas or a resolve? That's just how we write our resolutions. Okay, and I talked about the commas already, so we'll skip that one. Some don'ts real quick. Remember, don't put the header up there. Don't use any references to local branch numbers, names. You know, you might have a poon that's just always just doing everything in your, you know, to make it difficult for you. And your resolution can't say that you fix Mr. Johnson's attitude. You know, okay, there's got to be some issue that has national appeal. And so when you take that out, you'll see right away, does my resolution still make sense? Is there even really an issue? Is it just something local that I need to deal with? And don't send copies. They want the originals at headquarters. And so send the originals and you get the copies. Okay, other important factors when you're writing your resolution. Make sure that your resolution is grammatically correct. There are words that we use interchangeably all the time especially in this age of Twitter and Facebook and these short things, and you get so used to reading them that I don't know about you all, but for me, I believe that that skill is going further and further and further down. Yes.
Going back to what you said about they want the originals. Now, this is going to the national, but that's after it's been approved at the state, right?
Yes. And we will talk about that too. Maybe. I got a time flag. Yeah. That language, we're all losing it in this new fast-paced age. So in a convention, when you're reading a resolution and they tried to say there, but they wrote there, and they used the wrong one, guarantee you everybody will read that resolution and go, that didn't make sense. And you'll be your neighbor, and you'll be talking about that, and they'll be at the fourth whereas or the next resolution, and you missed the reading of the resolution because just some grammatical errors is going to get your attention off. So that is very key in writing a resolution. Yes, we brought up that your resolution most likely is going to start at the local branch level, get to the state level, your state branch at a convention is going to adopt it and approve it, and then it gets submitted to national. At the bottom of that resolution, it will be the state branch's identity that goes up to headquarters, because that was the convention that adopted that resolution and said we agree it needs to be submitted. It will not have two branch names on it. I actually had a resolution that I written that made it to the national level, and I got really excited. I was like, there it is, it's in the book, and he's actually saying the words I wrote. That was kind of exciting. But it said Michigan State Branch. And I was like, that ain't like that. So you lose a little bit of identity, but that's, that's okay. We understand. Yes, sir.
Every resolution does have to go through the state?
No.
No.
No, that is not.
Okay, some.
That is the normal progression. Like I imagine when you look through the book, you'll see, especially some of your larger branches. Like California has some 2 large branches. New York, you'll see New York branch have resolutions in there often. But a lot of times, if you're one of the smaller branches, you're already maybe kind of in an isolated area. You really don't know if that is a national issue. So you bring that to the state looks at it, now you got more eyes looking at it, everybody makes sense. Now you have a state supported resolution. So the majority of them go through that natural progression. Which reminds me, this next one, that deadline, there's a deadline to get those resolutions in to headquarters so they can be considered for that national convention. So if you have a thing and you keep thinking, yeah, we got this issue, we need to resolve it, and you just keep waiting and waiting, there's no way you're going to be able to write it, get it approved by your branch. Hopefully you've written it before your state convention so they can look at it and approve it, and then send it up. So you look at those deadlines so you know what you're working with before you start working on those resolutions.
Yep.
Yes?
I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been on the National Rules Committee, and one of the rules that we always have to follow, that if you don't have it submitted in time to be in the book, you have to make sure you make enough copies for each and every delegate at the convention. And that can cost a lot of money. It could be upwards of 1,000 people, 1,200. So you want to try to get that in before you go. Otherwise, they don't have to accept.
That's right. And there's a deadline actually at the convention that you have to be in as well if you miss the first one. When the state board, when you send your resolutions in, you can, well you should, put a cover letter on that. That is where, if you think it's just really important that I have to give more header information about a particular resolution, I gotta let them know where, who created this or why. You can do that in your cover letter. Headquarters, I'm sending you 10 resolutions. That way they open the packet, yep, we see all 10. The third one titled this, that came from such and such, here's what started. And that's where you can maybe give them some background if you want to know more about how that resolution started. Put it in that cover letter when you submit it. But leave the resolution itself in the format that they asked. Okay, research your topic. We have read resolutions on the floor. You get through the first whereas, and they kind of give you background on what's going on and why. You go, whereas such and such, and you go, well, that's not true. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be happening now. That's not the right facts. And right away, you lose the point of the resolution. Remember, if you go through all the trouble to write a resolution, get it to the state, get it to the national, what is the point of doing that? What is the end result that we want when you see your resolution at the book? You want something changed. You want them to concur. So don't do anything that is completely within your control to risk that resolution failing before it even gets a proper chance, because it may be something we really need. And because it's just written poorly, or because it didn't include something, or because it's negative, we didn't understand it, the thing gets defeated, and now we gotta wait until it comes up again. So, research your topic, make sure you know what you're talking about when you do your resolution. Poor grammar, we talked about that already. That can make a resolution get defeated just based on confusion alone. And I've seen it when you meet with the objectors. How many times have you gone in a meeting with those, and you're talking about what was the intent of the resolution instead of why we're objecting or should concur with it? That happens a lot. That happens a lot. So we don't need that. Be really clear and concise. So too many clauses of whereas, too many unclear or too many resolved paragraphs also could lose attention and make us misunderstand what it is that you wanted to know about that resolution.
Perfect timing.
Was it good? Thank you, Ryan. Because that's what you're supposed to do at the end of the presentation. I don't know the answers, but together, if we have some questions, we can answer collectively. Yes.
I just want to say that in a lot of the resolutions that I've been a part of, whether at a local branch or a state or even at the national, a lot of time is spent just because of the wording. So it's really important to make sure that there's not different perceptions, because we spend so much time, not because the resolution is a bad resolution.
Exactly.
It's just different people read it differently.
Bingo.
Exactly. And you know what? If you give it to 3 people that know nothing about the Postal Service and they read it and they can tell you exactly what it is that you want, you know that is a good resolution. You know that's a good resolution. So that's the test, the litmus test. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you all for your
Thank you.